What's up, everybody? Let's start this quick hits off the right way and congratulate the 2022 Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, as we look ahead to the 23 season, we got to start with the trigger man spot, and that's the quarterback position. As much as 15 teams could be in the market for a new quarterback, and this carousel begins as soon as this week. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers, one of the best to ever do it, and he just might be looking for a fresh start. And Green Bay Packers, well, I believe the last two great quarterbacks have put them in a bind, and I think they're going to learn from history. I believe that they're going to be willing to deal Aaron to the New York Jets, who has reached out this week in inquiring about a trade with him. I believe a fresh start for the Green Bay Packers will be good, not only for themselves, but for Aaron as well. We'll see what happens if they decide to pull the trigger. One of the all-time greats at the position, it'd be hard to walk away from. But I believe from history, they will move on and not hold themselves or their franchise hostage by one player. From one former MVP to another, I'm speaking of Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. From reports, it sounds like the two teams are far apart, Jackson's camp and the Baltimore Ravens, which could trigger a franchise tag being used yet again, and Lamar deciding to hold out. What could play out in this scenario is the league office or someone from high above could put some pressure on both camps to get something done. Not to say that it happens quite often, but I think a nasty precedent could be set. Lamar is willing to just hold out the season, believing in what his worth is, and not want to take the risk of being injured in another season. Could put a lot of pressure on the two camps to find a middle ground. That middle ground could either be Lamar walking or a deal getting reached. However, I believe Lamar is going to stick to his guns, and if he decides not to show up to camp, I wouldn't be surprised if the Baltimore Ravens is forced to do something against their own decision. If the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson can't come to any agreement, there's going to be quite the interest for his talent. But there's a team that sticks out to me, the Las Vegas Raiders. Not only do they have the cap room, but he'll make a big splash in a market that's thirsty for winning. With their franchise that love playmakers, dynamic athletes, he has a number one receiver. It'll be very attractive, and they can make a hell of a pitch if they want to bring in Lamar Jackson into the fold. Las Vegas parting ways with quarterback Derek Carr, and the first QB to hit the market is going to probably be him. Now, what's interesting that could happen in this scenario is Carr can end up very well when his big brother was drafted as their first pick in franchise history, the Houston Texans. It could be a really good fit for him. Ryans, as a coach, is going to have an outstanding defense, you would have to assume, and they bring an offensive coordinator with him from San Francisco, running that same scheme. Derek has a great arm talent, and he has a little wiggle to him as a mobile quarterback, extending plays. This could be a really good jumpstart for the Houston Texans. What's going to be playing in the background is that the franchise leave the family with a bad taste in their mouth by the way they treated his big brother. If not, other scenarios could be happening for Derek is he could take a tour of all four teams in the NFC South. Tampa Bay, Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans all may be in the market for a new quarterback. So if Derek's going to take a tour, he might as well start down south, and he just may find a home. The quarterback market for Geno Smith, he's definitely raised some interest for himself by the way he played this past season. Coach Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks very well may be comfortable with Geno. They've had him for a number of years as a backup, and he's definitely going to prove himself for an extension at least. But I believe Geno's still going to be a bridge quarterback and seen in that way, unfortunately. In the meantime, I believe Geno continue to maximize his talent and what's best for him by staying put in a system and around coaches that know him is going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Looking at seeking a new franchise to start over yet again, I don't know if he has the stomach to do so, uprooting himself and his family from what's been comfortable in Seattle. Smith is a great fit for what they do, and after bouncing around, he's likely to stay put. Jimmy Garoppolo, another name that we've all known and been accustomed to as of recent seasons. A known winner, but someone that seems to always have a question mark. And because of that, I believe he remains a bridge-type quarterback for a franchise looking for their future. He could very well be in the same market as Derek Carr, the NFC South. Starting with Frank Reich going to the Carolina Panthers. Jimmy could be a really good fit there. But if things don't work out for him in Carolina, the Atlanta Falcons could definitely seize the opportunity to move up in their division. But bringing Jimmy in as a known commodity and a proven winner. He's a solid person that you could build your franchise around and take you over the hump in the NFC South, who seems to be wide open as a division. Daniel Jones. The ship is steadying in New York with Coach of the Year Brian Daboll. And making the playoffs in year one definitely buys time for valuation for Jones. They look like they have value in continuing what they've built around this season and absolutely having to get ready to pay Saquon Barkley. Adding a couple of more pieces around him and a receiver, I would say add some receivers or some more playmakers around him on the offensive side of the ball, allowing him to have a make it or break a year in the New York market, which will be heavily scrutinizing him as he approaches the end of his rookie deal. It's a quarterback-heavy draft, and it couldn't come at a better time, as teams are hungry for QBs. The top two should go really quick. For Bryce Young of Alabama, he's either going to go number 1 or number 2 pick overall. Does someone trade up with the Bears to move ahead of the Houston Texans? If I'm the Bears, I'm thinking trade back. If you're able to find a dynamic young receiver to go with Justin Fields and continue to prove and coach him up in the right way, you have your quarterback for the future, and you can build depth through the draft because you're willing to trade back when someone's looking to grab a hold of Bryce Young. Next up should bring us to Ohio State, C.J. Stroud. If there's movement at the top, C.J. could go as high as number 2 to the Houston Texans, and if the Bears decide not to move, Young could go number 2 overall, which leaves the Colts, the Raiders, and the Falcons in play for the young quarterback of C.J. Stroud. But I don't see either one of them falling past the top 10, let alone the top 8 spots.